All right, let's talk about Microsoft unveiling the Atom-powered Surface 3 tablet. Now, the Surface 3 tablet, the Surface 3 has been around before. This is Jeff Campman's story, but guys, help me out here. Is the update here just that we have Atom? Is that the nuance?
Well, the Surface 3 Pro has been around.
Oh, I see. But
this is
just
the amateur. This is the college, level edition, the NCAA tournament version. So this is like, when we had the original Surface, there was the Surface RT. Remember that? That's very good. The eating was very sneaky there, Jordan. Like no one noticed. No one noticed that, but Jordan's eating. Actually, it's amazing. The mic doesn't pick up the crunch of the apple. He's got nothing to say. His mouth is full. Anyway.
Sorry, I had connection issues. What was that?
Well, the Surface RT, though, you remember, was a raging success
RT,
based on running Windows, but based on ARM. So the only apps that it could run were Windows 8 apps that were also compiled for the ARM microarchitecture. And then, they had a version of Office that they shipped, I think, that was the only desktop app that would run in desktop mode on it. It was a weird...
Well, it had Notepad.
Oh, it had Notepad. Okay, it was a weird product. It was a weird... And I think the reason that Microsoft did it in part was because they saw the mobile world going ARM, and they didn't want to have their device have to be thicker or slower or heavier or shorter battery life because it used an Intel processor. But, Intel has put itself at parity more or less with the ARM SoC makers. Or at least they're playing credibly now in that space with the Atom-based stuff that they've got, and then in the higher end with Broadwell. Although that's kind of a little bit further up the price chain. But this is I think it's Cherry Trail based, right, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So it's the new Atom that comes after Bay Trail with the Airmont core, which is basically a die shrink to the 14 nanometer process of Bay Trail that came before. It looks like in theory, when I saw this announcement, Jeff, I don't know about you, I was excited. It looks like kind of promising.
Well, it's kind of the entry-level Surface that we've been asking for forever, since they had the RT one and wanted something that was sort of the x86 compatibility of the Pro without the price tag. And Intel has had these Atom chips for a while that they just have sort of, I don't know, stubbornly refused to use, or it just took them a while to come up with this design. So yeah, I'm still kind of excited about it. I'm really curious to see how it does and how it sells.
Yeah. Now, so it's a 1080p resolution.
No,
1920
no,
by
1280.
Oh yeah, because it's 2:3 aspect ratio, right? Yep. Okay, so it's like the Surface Pro that you appreciate, Jordan. You're a fan of the Surface 3 Pro. Right?
I've had some good experiences with it. Yeah, good impressions of it.
So it's like that in the shape. It's is it a smaller screen, Jeff, than the
Yeah, it's 10.8 instead of 12.5, so it's a little bit smaller.
Okay.
But it still has an optional stylus. You still get a full-size USB 3 port. Still has the same sort of array of touch and type covers. It's got a micro SD slot as well, mini DisplayPort output. So it's still got sort of the PC sensibilities that the Pro model has. There's going to be an LTE version of it as well. But just at a much lower price. So it starts at $499 for a 64 gig version. I don't know how much of that is actually going to be available to the end user, but it's a decent entry price considering the storage configuration and the fact that it's basically a full-fat Windows machine.
And so it's $500 with 2 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage, and then $600 for 128 gigs of storage and 4 gigs of RAM, which seems like the config that you want. I guess you can kind of get by in Windows 8 if you're doing lightweight stuff with 2 gigs. But
yeah, the Transformer, the T100 is okay for light stuff, but I think the telling thing is an extra $100 gets you another 64 gigs of storage as well, which is a lot more than an extra $100 gets you if you're buying sort of a Nexus device or even an iPad.
Yeah, I just have to admit though that when I saw this announcement, I thought, oh, that should be really affordable. And it starts at $500, and it doesn't come with the stylus or the type covers at that price, right? And the type cover costs you an additional, like, pretty good amount of money.
Yeah, 130 for the type cover and $50 for the stylus.
And you want they also have the touch cover, or do they not have that for this?
No, they do have it. I don't know. We don't have a price on it in the story, but
have you played around with the touch cover at all? Because you don't want the touch cover. Like,
it's a nice cover for the screen, but not so much as a keyboard.
Yeah. So I don't know. I wish that it were cheaper, because the thing is, you mentioned the T100. That's a little bit lower res Asus Transformer T100. They've got the new Qi versions, right? But those are cheaper.
Yeah, I think the Qi is 400, and that comes with a keyboard, the Atom-based one, off the top of my head, although I haven't seen it actually selling yet.
Right.
That's the thing with the Surface. It's always been a little bit upscale, a little bit more premium. I'm sure the materials and the build quality are really good and probably better than what you'd get out of a typical Atom-based tablet. And I have to wonder how much of that is Microsoft also not wanting to compete too much on price with its competitors, or I guess its partners as well.
Its customers, yeah.
Windows machines. So
yeah,
I think that's part of a deliberate strategy.
It just seems a little pricey for what you get, but I'm glad it exists. I'm glad they finally went to an x86 compatible chip. It's at least like not a bad option in terms of just like it'll run all your software and stuff like that. So maybe we'll get one, play with it, see what we think.